Oh, we got a triple dipper here this week. That's right, 3 guests, and you do not want to miss this one. We are joined by Nick Trim, Noah Winslow, and Dylan Nutt, the top 3 from the Bass Nation National Championship, and the 3 anglers that are going to the Bassmaster Classic. But first, they join me on...
I'm Bob Cobb from the Bassmaster. Welcome to Mercer.
Welcome one, welcome all, friends, family, freeloaders, fishing freaks, and of course you, my humpers. Happy hump day to all of you, and welcome into the Awkwardly Honest Fishing Podcast that goes by my last name, which is Mercer. This is the 237th edition of the Mercer Podcast, and I hope wherever you're watching or listening from, that life is treating you well. We got a great show here this week, an incredible show. We have the top 3 from the Bass Nation National Championship, and this is 3 incredible anglers, and you're going to hear a lot about them coming up here because they're all fishing the Bassmaster Classic. Obviously, we've got Nick Trim, the champion, who really has a cool story, 43 years old. He's wanted this dream his whole life, and he's chasing it. We're joined by Noah Winslow, who finished second in the event, a fishing guide that has a very bright future. And we are joined by Dylan Nutt, who finished third in the event. If that name sounds familiar, it's probably because you've been hearing about him and his brother. The Nutt brothers have been running havoc on tournaments all over the South, whether it be collegiate events, whether it be AAA level events. You're going to want to watch this because he is one half of 2 brothers that are twin brothers, 21 years old, and what they're doing is incredible. The reverence people speak of the Nutts with is incredible, and I didn't know Dylan before this. I didn't know any of these guys before this, and I will say this, all 3 of them seem to be a problem to deal with in Knoxville. An incredible top 3 from the Bass Nation National Championship. But Dylan Nutt, I mean, he is not afraid to say some stuff. And he's going to open up this show because we're going third to first as far as guests go. And he may be one of the most confident human beings I've ever talked to in my life. You're going to want to watch this. It's a very interesting conversation. So, shout out to all 3 of them. I thank them for joining me in the show. And I thank all the Bass Nation clubs for your support because you're going to share the crap out of this podcast. And these guys are going to get the love that they deserve, right? Indeed. Bass Nation has always been held a special part in my heart because it is the foundation, it is the roots, it is what builds Bassmaster, and it is the working man's route to the Bassmaster Classic. So I would say that there is 3 great representatives heading to the Classic this year, and I'm thankful they all join me here, and I hope you guys enjoy getting to meet them. Before we get into this week's show, though, I have to address a few things. First of all, I am just now starting to recover from the sleep deprivation of the World Series run of the Blue Jays, which obviously did not end the way many, including myself, had hoped and dreamed it would end. But what a freaking World Series. If you watched it, I mean, many people are saying it's one of the greatest World Series ever. Game 7, it was just nuts. Congrats to the Dodgers. A lot of people want to point out, oh, this went wrong, that went wrong. But hey, listen, the Jays did a few things wrong. They made a few mistakes. And I think that this will be a building block for many great things in the future. You can't make mistakes against the Dodgers because in a lot of ways, the Jays outplayed the Dodgers. But the Dodgers did not make the mistakes. And when you are against a super team like that, you can't make mistakes. And the proof is in the pudding. I don't know why I said that. It's just one of those things that people say. I don't know why they say the proof is in the pudding, but it came out of my mouth and it sounded weird. I don't think I've ever said that term before, but congrats to the Dodgers, and congrats to Jays. They went from last to second, which is truly incredible. Here's what stood out for me this World Series, and no matter who you were cheering for, it was really cool to see people. I mean, they're making tons of money. Don't get me wrong, all of them. But just the excitement and the love that people like Vladdy and Shohei have for the game, like how much fun they're having out there, that is contagious. And in some ways, I think our sport could weirdly enough learn from that, because everybody loves it. But at times we don't show that love in a competition world. And if you ask me what people loved about this World Series, is you saw people that were playing a game and loving every minute of it, which is what you should do, because life is very, very precious. Speaking of which, I want to send a special thoughts out to Kathy Fennell, who was just announced she is battling stage 4 cancer. Kathy Fennell, I don't know what her actual title is, but I think she was CEO of FLW and now is with MLF. She's an amazing lady that is a member of the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. And to be honest, that's where I kind of know Kathy best from, because I MC the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame event. So I've got to know her over the years. She got inducted in the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame a few years ago. She's also a member of the board. She's just one of those good, kind, amazing people. Every time you see her, she makes you feel good. And she always got a hug and always welcoming. And what she's accomplished in this sport is amazing. But her greatest chapter is about to be written, and that is her battling stage 4 cancer and ultimately beating it. Kathy, our thoughts and prayers are with you, and I would encourage all of you to do the same for an amazing lady that doesn't deserve to be dealing with what she's dealing with. In other news, there's no way to transition from that's smooth, but in other news, I need you guys to help make this show a little more relevant. We have been nominated for a very prestigious award. Best on Tour is a newsletter that goes out weekly. I've told you guys about it in the past. You need to subscribe to it. It's free. It just gives a lot of the behind the scenes of the industry, a lot of tips and different things from different pros in the industry. It's called Best on Tour. bestontour.net is the website, but they have done a Best on Tour awards. And somehow this little podcast has snuck in there as the top 3 finalist podcast for Best Podcast. And we're up against Bass Talk Live and Bass After Dark. And so congratulations to both those podcasts. And thank you for those of you that voted for us to be a finalist. Is very nice, and an honor to be on that list. Panger's kind of got an advantage. I mean, he does 4 shows a week, so he'll pimp the crap out of this and probably win, and maybe deservingly so. But I think I have faith in you guys. You guys can battle. You guys can help this show win this award. It comes with a spanky medal that I'll gladly hang back there, and it allows us to say that we were the Best on Tour, Best Podcast. So all you got to do is vote. bestontour.net. Go to that website and click up top. You'll see Best on Tour Awards, I believe. Click on that and vote. They got a bunch of fun categories: best facial hair, best performance of the year, best. There's a bunch of fun categories. There's 20 different top, categories you can vote on. But the one that I'm specifically concerned about is Best Podcast. And I wish you would go over there. And here's the best thing about it. If you vote, you get put in a draw for, I think, a $200 prize pack. So help us win, and maybe you will win. That is my plea to you. If you enjoy this podcast, as so many of you do week after week, and I am thankful for that, please help us legitimize ourselves and win this award. by simply going to bestontour.net and voting. I will put a link down below. I will make it as easy as possible for you to help us win this award. Because as I said, I mean, Panger's basically cheating. I mean, he does 4 shows a week. It's hard to compete with that. But we'd like to try if you could help us. And without further ado, let's just jump right into this show. Like I said, Bass Nation is always a special, special group. I am so thankful that all 3 of these guys were able to join the show. And I really, really think you're going to enjoy these conversations. Some great interviews and some crazy stuff gets said by by one dude. Dylan Nutt says some stuff, but I love it. I love it. I mean, we really need him on the Elite Series. We need all 3 of these guys in the Elite Series. Nick Trim is going to be on the Elite Series because he's qualified, but guess what? The other 2 can make the Elite Series. All they got to do is go win the Bassmaster Classic. And if you ask Dylan Nutt, that's exactly what he plans on doing. Dylan Nutt, I appreciate you doing this. And
oh, yeah.
Here's the weird thing. I feel like I don't know if you realize this, but you're like, the Nutt brothers are fabled characters, like almost superhero-esque. People speak about you guys.
I don't know that that's how I would describe myself. We're just a pair of nuts that just want to go fishing. And that's the only way I'd describe it.
What you guys have done, you and your brother, in a short period of time is pretty incredible. Are you willing to give me kind of a quick rundown of some of the victories?
Yeah. I'd say the first victory that kind of like started it all for my brother and I was probably our win in high school. We won high school state championship and the team of the year. And, that actually enabled us. We earned enough money in that tournament to buy Lowrance Active Target and then learn to become the scopers that we are today. And that tournament definitely kicked us off and made us really hungry. And then we came up here to the University of North Alabama, and we've been having some success ever since. But
are you proud of that term, scoper?
I am now. Yep. That's because the old guys, they want to be scopers. Well, they got to call us young guys the scopers.
Do you realize do you have fun with the older guys that don't like scope, or is this?
I do love it. I actually got a funny story. We were, whenever we were up there in Wisconsin for the Bass Nation Championship, we were eating at a restaurant, and this one older guy was telling us about how much he hated live scope. And so me and my buddy Nathan Reynolds, we just kind of jumped on board with him. We were like, "Yep, hate it. I can't believe they even let people put those cheater boxes on their boats." And we like to have fun with it. And I was telling him about how I just when I put in first thing in the morning, dip my hand down in the water, drink some lake water, and you can tell right where they're at from there. And he loved it. The term scoper is I definitely don't mind. Just another word, but it kind of shows the years of hard work that a lot of us have put into it, and it's paying off, I guess.
So what do you say back to, because that's what you do here. I mean, last week I had Trip on the podcast and he's like, I spent 4 or 5 years getting really good at this. What is the retort to that when somebody says, well, I spent 40 years getting good at the other stuff?
I guess that's just part of it. The main thing is those guys that are saying that were the ones that were, advertising for Garmin and whatnot, saying this is the future of the sport and you guys got to learn it. So, we were just kind of following along with the way advertisement was and just kind of, I guess, listening to them. And now it ends up, they don't like it anymore. But I guess it's just part of it, part of life.
Yeah. Well, you're a Bassmaster Classic qualifier. How does that feel?
It's unbelievable. Like what I've been telling people, you win tournaments and And I've never really gotten emotional from a tournament, and just driving to the ramp or driving back from the ramp after the third day, you know, just knowing I had such a close chance. I was crying the entire 50-minute drive back home. And same way on the way to the ramp, I was in tears, just thinking, you know, this is what I've been dreaming of, you know, as long as I can remember, since I was, you know, probably 6 or 7 years old. And, for it to just come true is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, it's unreal. I was choked up on stage. I couldn't really talk, and I've never really got that feeling from a tournament. So it just kind of shows you how much it means to me.
What is the first classic you remember? Like, what classic really impacted you growing up that made you say, "Hey, I want to do that one day"?
Man, there's so many. I mean, I really liked a lot of the Hartwell classics, watching those. As well as when Edwin Evers won on Grand Lake. That one was a pretty big one for me, as well as Jordan Lee. Jordan Lee, of course, that's probably the one that did it, was the classic at Conroe. And, you know, he was broke down and ended up having to stay on that one. I don't know. I kind of, you know, Jordan was somebody that I could relate to. He was a younger guy, you know, and I feel like I'm kind of following the same path that he was. And that's something very easily to look up to.
Your fishing skills, do they match up well with the location of the classic you're going to compete in?
I think so. I'm from Tennessee. Not that I've spent a lot of time out there, which I actually haven't. But I've got a feeling it's gonna set up in my wheelhouse. I'm definitely gonna start putting in a lot of time over there. Cutoff's not till January 1st, so hopefully they're gonna have to watch out after I put some time in out there.
One thing that is very different, I mean, you guys got a lot of accomplishments, but your school, North Alabama, is really doing a lot. And this is the first time we're going to have two collegiate anglers from the same school competing in the Bassmaster Classic while they're still at said school. Have you stopped to think about that?
I haven't. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm really looking forward to the experience. So, because, I'm sure as a younger kid like myself going into the Classic, not knowing anybody, probably would be a little nerve wracking, but, having one of my best friends trip there with me, that's going to be an unbelievable experience. And, I'd say one of us is probably going to be hard to beat because we are not to play on with.
I asked Tripp why he goes to North Alabama, and he said, well, the Nuts called and said it'd be a good idea if I fished there. Did you and your brother LeBron this entire team? I mean, you look at the Bank Shaw, like it is a freaking dream team of collegiate anglers.
Yeah, it definitely is. Most of us came in the same class. We were on the same high school team as Banks. And, we all got recruited to go to many different places. But the main thing that all the coaches would tell us is they said, we'll pick a couple tournaments for you to go to in the fall. And then if you make the travel team, whatever, then you can fish in the spring. But coming here to UNA, it is a club ran sport. So we could literally fish whatever tournaments we wanted to. And so we came down here and just literally went fishing every single day. I had one semester that wasn't the best for me because I literally went fishing every single day. But ever since then, I've been in the studies, catching up a little bit. But it's a great location down here. We're 5 minutes where I live is 5 minutes from the boat ramp on Pickwick, probably 10 from boat ramp on Wilson, and we just got so many good lakes so close to us. It's just the best breeding ground to learn all kind of different skills.
I take it you're not one of those dudes who rolls into the Classic and feels like I'm just happy to be here. From the 6 minutes we've talked, I feel like you want to make an impact.
Oh, absolutely. There's obviously my lifelong dream is to make the Elite Series. But no telling if I'm going to be able to make that happen or when I'm going to be able to make that happen. So as of right now, this is the only Classic I'm going to fish for a little while. So I'm going to definitely put the time in and try to make an impact. Like what you're saying, I'm not going there to finish dead last. Fishing against the best pros in the world, and I'd like to try to let some of them remember who I am.
Well, I'm not sure if you're aware, but if you win the Bassmaster Classic, you get an elite berth. So, I mean, you might as well just go do that. how many days are we talking? Like, how much time are you going to spend in the water, on the tournament water, before before actual practice?
So we got about 2 months till the cutoff, and I've got quite a few tournaments. I'm leaving actually in the morning to go to Grand Lake for the Toyota Championship, and once I get back from that, I think I'm gonna go over there for about a week, and I might skip out on some tournaments this fall just to put the time in over there. But I'd like to spend at least 2 or 3 weeks over there just checking out every inch of that place that I can, because it really is a big fishery, a lot of water to cover down there.
You and your twin brother grew up in Nashville. Where did you learn to fish in Nashville? Like, where did you hone your skills as a kid?
So before we got a boat, my dad would take me every weekend down to Lake Cumberland. We'd fish around Pond Creek and Brush Creek, or not Lake Cumberland, Cumberland River. And I would just fish underneath the bridges and whatnot until one day I hooked my dad in the back with a rattle trap, casting from the bank, and then we didn't go for a little while after that. But we had a little by my house that had some deeper pools in it that I would get there and just catch what I could, or the little Harpeth River. But once we started fishing out of a boat, we went to Percy Priest quite a bit, and Old Hickory and the Cumberland River too. Those little rivers down there are pretty awesome. What
makes you and your brother as lethal on the water as you are? Like, explain to me who you are as an angler.
I would say time on the water for sure. During I hate to say it, but during the whole COVID shutdown, it really opened up a lot of opportunity for Carter and I. And we would work around now, doing odd jobs, pulling weeds, cutting grass, whatnot. We'd work till like 10 or 11, sometimes go fishing afterwards every single day. And gas being $1.75 a gallon is very affordable, and we got to go all over the place. And it's confidence too. That's another one of the main things is we just feel like, if you don't have confidence in yourself as an angler, you're never going to succeed, even if you have all the right opportunities. If you don't think you're going to catch one out of that lay down, even if there's a 5-pounder sitting in there, you might not make the right cast, or you don't think about it right. But I feel like we just got a lot of confidence from experience on the water, and that really pays off.
Have you always been a confident person, or is this just through the massive amount of time in the water?
I really have. I hate to. You took up most of my stuff in middle school and high school because I was not paying attention to the teacher. I was, on my laptop watching you talk about the fishing video, or watching whatever. And so that's kind of really been the only thing that I've thought about for the last 15 years is bass fishing. So I guess it comes with a lot of that too.
So how did you catch them in this event? I mean, you had a decent pre-fish, I think I read, but smaller fish. Mm-hmm. How'd the fish get bigger, and how'd you catch them?
I was catching a lot on a swim bait and a jig and stuff like that, fishing rock piles, wing dams and whatnot, kind of staples up there on the Mississippi River. But I think in practice, the reason why I didn't catch many good ones is just because I was jumping around, trying to cover a lot of water. I wasn't really getting honed in. But after the first day of the tournament, I kind of got locked into what they were doing, and then just started running with it. And I kind of located where a lot of the bigger ones were sitting. But I also had a couple key areas that seemed to have bigger fish than others that I leaned on very heavily.
Throwing a small swim bait?
Yeah, I was mixing in like a 4-inch Scottsboro Tackle Company swim bait. I was obviously catching some on a Demiki rig too. Us live scopers can't get away from that thing. But a jig was a very good one too. A lot of the fish up there were feeding on the bluegills. Because there were perch fishing all around me. And so I kind of put 2 and 2 together and started throwing more of a bluegill imitator. And they liked it.
Okay, let's try to tell the future. 6 months from now, you've already fished your first Bassmaster Classic. How'd it go?
Went awesome.
How'd you do?
I'm a big believer that that if you talk yourself into something, you can really do anything. And I think I'm going to win it. You know, I don't want to jinx myself, I guess, but I'm going to put in the work and we'll see where the chips lie.
I can't wait to see it. I think a lot of people are excited. Is Carter still there? Your brother? I know he's working on his boat. Is he still there?
He just ran out real quick.
Oh, okay. So I was going to ask him how he thought you would do. How do you think he'd answer that?
Oh, he's probably going to tell you I'm going to win it.
Oh, that's good. That's way better than some brothers.
He'll be back in here in a second, and we'll see what he says.
All right. Is that your dream to fish the elites with your brother?
It is. I would love for him to be there. I don't know quite what all he's going to fish next year, so we'll see. We'll see how that ends up. But I definitely want to get there. You know, if he ends up going the MLF route, part of it. But we'll see.
One of you on each side. I mean, that's fine.
That would be awesome too.
Yeah. So one of the things that I quickly learned about Tripp is he avoids school a lot. Like he really does not go to school a lot. Fishing gets in the way for school. How often are you in school?
So I'm trying to graduate. So I've been having to put in a lot more time than I really want to. But like I've been in the library all morning trying to knock out assignments. And really the time that I am here and not at a tournament, I am in the library most of the time, working on something, trying to get caught up or get ahead for the next tournament. Because the one thing that I will not do is open my computer when I'm at a tournament. You know, I'll put in the time whenever I get back here, but when I'm at a tournament, I'm not thinking about school. So that's my one downfall as far as education goes. I just cram it all in when I get back.
What are you taking?
I'm actually taking 21 hours this semester, which is a ridiculous amount to be fishing as much as I am.
No. I mean,
but
sorry, go ahead.
I'm a geography major. So,
what does a geography major go on to do in life?
It's kind of like it gets a base of a lot of different things in there. Like you have some business stuff, some like I guess geography where you're talking about, you know, on a map and stuff. Do a lot of different stuff with mappings, like through different government agencies and stuff. But also I take a lot of fisheries classes, so I'm kind of hoping to go back to some sort of fisheries. You know, that would be pretty cool, working for TVA or something.
Yeah. But probably just fish tournaments by the sounds of things. Carter, come on over here.
Dave's got a couple questions for you.
Come on over here. Good to meet you, Carter. I've heard a lot about both of you guys. Your brother's fishing the Bassmaster Classic. How do you think he's going to do?
Oh, I think he's going to win it, probably. I mean,
that's what I told him.
I'm rooting for him. I know that. I told Tripp, you know, because we were really, really fired up that Tripp made it. And I told him, you know, we're going to be shooting off fireworks and stuff. And I said, I'm sorry, but I can't follow you around anymore.
Got somebody else.
Well, I mean, it's your brother. You got to cheer for your brother. Why is he going to win?
Oh, it's just, I mean, he may not win, but I don't know. He's going to probably, if I had to guess. He's my pick.
Confidence. That's what.
Yeah.
It's confidence.
Yeah. You got to be confident. Confidence is key in fishing. You got to have your mental game there. And
yeah, even if you're not going to catch them, I always like to be the person talking the most crap because you got
to get in everyone else's heads. That's the key.
Well, God,
you can't be cocky, but you got to get in their heads.
Yeah.
Today's high-tech fishing world can be a real pain in the neck, especially if you're running the wrong mounts. Beat Down Outdoors, they bring the graph to you. And they support this podcast and care enough about you to make this a short ad read. Check out Beat Down Outdoors. Now back to the show.
What, dude, we need both of you on the Bassmaster Elite Series. I don't care what you're fishing. You need to get on the Elite Series because you are like a tag team. You're like in a world where nobody will say crap. The Nuts will say anything, it turns out.
Oh yeah. We like to let people know what we think, for sure.
Yeah.
not.
No, you're not real shy about it. No. Have you guys been in a lot of fights growing up?
No.
Oh,
Not
good.
him.
Good.
We fight each other more than anybody else.
Do you? Who's the toughest out of you two?
I don't know. I'm going to say me. I don't think anyone lost a fight. Yeah. Always hug it out.
All right. Well, good. I look forward to hopefully seeing you two hug on the classic stage when you hold the trophy, Dylan. That would be awesome. It would be awesome.
That would be
it would be nuts, quite frankly.
Sure would.
Are you tired of those? Like, are you tired of people making nuts jokes?
I love it. I don't think I get enough of them, to be honest.
Okay. Well, make the Elite Series. I am very cheesy and I will not avoid an opportunity. So congratulations. Thanks for doing this. Better start thinking about some for March, because you're going to have hopefully 3 opportunities to make some nut jokes. All right. I'm all in. All
righty.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks, Dave.
No problem. Thanks. Noah Winslow, you're on a freaking podcast. You've never done this before, right?
I never have. Unreal. Like I said, I feel like I should be getting ready to watch, not getting ready to talk.
Well, thank you for watching or at least claiming to. Thanks for allowing me to be your first.
Yeah, of course. I don't think there's another first I would rather have.
Gosh, this is so getting clipped off by high-class Bassmaster memes.
Probably is.
It's happening as we speak.
It definitely is.
But more shockingly than this conversation, you're going to the freaking Bassmaster Classic.
Yeah. Hasn't set in at all. Yeah, I don't think. Like, the thought is there, but the reality is, the other day I was just like Googling something on Bassmaster and I came across the that spreadsheet of like who's qualified, and I saw my name on there and I was like, that's a typo. Like, that's not real.
I think that just makes you normal. Like, really. I mean, I worked for Bass for I think 16 years now, and I still see stuff where my voice comes across. I'm like, whoa, that's everything was so professional up till me.
Yeah.
But it's way better than being the guy, well, I've been waiting for this moment. I knew it would happen. And
I honestly never thought it would happen.
But you've worked hard. I mean, in the 12 minutes of research I did before we decided to do this podcast and actually getting into it, you've been fishing Bassmaster tournaments for a while. You started in grade school or high school?
I think I was in grade school. I was in like 8th grade, or no, not 8th grade. Sorry. I was like 8 or 9 years old. I started doing like casting kids when they had that. Yeah. And that was honestly how I got started. To this day, like a great mentor and friend, like Terry Baxay.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. He got me started. Like with the casting kids. He was just like at a hunting and fishing show. It was like, hey, you want to cast for a competition? And it led us to the Bassmaster Classic eventually. So who would ever thought, you know?
When did you think of the Bass? Like, do you remember your first Classic? Like,
so I've never been to a Bassmaster Classic.
No, but like everybody has that Classic they watched and they're like, yeah, I remember.
So in 2013, well, it was like 2013 and then the Classic of 2014 when Randy Howell won.
Yeah,
in 13, I went to the Junior World Championship. You were actually the MC, I think, which was kind of cool. And Paul Mueller, who's from Connecticut, made it to the Classic that year, and he came in second. So that was like, I remember being like glued to the TV, like watching all of that. And that was like the very first one that was like, wow, I want to do this one day, because it was like, it was a guy from Connecticut and all that. And of course, like, I wasn't born yet, but like Bryan Kerchal is huge too. Like, being from where I'm from, like we fish this Memorial Tournament every year. It's like the biggest tournament we have and all that.
Yeah. I miss emceeing those events, to be honest. I mean, it was, I mean, not that I'm looking for another weekend to do something other than watch football that time of year, but it was cool to connect all you know what I mean? Like, I knew Mueller when Mueller made the elites. I knew his story. I had a connection with him. So Well, I'm glad I didn't piss you off all those years ago.
No, definitely not. There's literally a picture over to my left. It's like me holding fish, and then you like half of your face is cut off on the side, hanging up.
That's how I am famous. Generally, it's just my hand. My hand has been that sounds bad, but my hand has been some incredible places. A lot of magazines. Generally, you just see my hand.
Yeah.
But you're from Naugatuck. Is that how you say it?
Naugatuck.
Not even cooler. Naugatuck, Connecticut. How old are you?
I'm 26.
So what do you do when you're not trying to fish the Classic? Do you have a job?
Yeah, I'm a fishing guide in Connecticut on Candlewood Lake, and I have a lawn care business, and I fish tournaments, and that's pretty much it.
Wow. So you know Mueller well, then, obviously.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while, but yeah, we do live in the same town. I've never seen him in town, but we do live in the same town. Yes.
I don't think he spends a lot of time in town, to be honest.
He definitely does not. Yeah.
Bit of a gypsy.
Yes.
You had the standard going into this event. You had the standard. Everybody freaking talks about it. And it doesn't make any sense to me other than people fish more natural when this happens. You had a bad practice. Terrible.
I was literally texting my parents, like, I suck at fishing, like all of practice. And
they need to screen grab that text string, frame it and give it to you for Christmas.
Yes. Yeah. It was like, even like my, like I have some really good friends that like we grew up like learning tournament fishing, everything together. And like, I'm texting them like, I suck, like all this stuff. And turns out I was just a little bit ahead of what the fish were doing. And we got a big cold front, and it just put them like, it was like picture perfect what I thought in my brain and what I had researched and had understood happens there, like in this time of year. Cause there's never been a big tournament there this late in the year. Yeah. Everything was frogging and flipping, and you show up and there's no duckweed anywhere because the pool's drawn down like 1.5 feet or something. And I was like, well, there goes all that.
All the research, like everything.
Yes. Yeah.
Is it a tough fishery that time of year? Or were you just off of what it just hadn't come to you yet?
I think it just hadn't come to me yet. I ended up catching them on the outside or like giant eelgrass beds on like hard cover right on the main river or main channel. And I think that's like something that happens with largemouth we have like the Connecticut River. It's a tidal fishery though, and the Hudson River. It's like pretty much like transition fish going from their summer areas, moving to deeper water and things like that. So it was a thought of what I wanted to do in practice. I just caught a couple like little 2.5 pound smallmouth, and I was like, well, this is how this is going to go. And apparently they turned into big largemouth for the tournament.
It's better. It's better to have it go that way than the opposite.
Yeah.
Do you think that's just fall fishing? Like everything. I mean, I always kind of explain fall fishing in the north, and it doesn't really matter what I think. I want to know what you think, but it's the same as down south. It's just everything is on steroids. So there is a pre-spawn, there's a post-spawn, there's all of those, right. But the difference is it's not 2 months like in Florida. It's 2 weeks, 2 days in some situations. So they're always moving.
Exactly. Yeah, like in the springtime here, like especially like where I live, like sometimes like they can be nowhere near spawning like in the spring, and then like within 3 days, like every fish goes on the bed, and then like once that's over, like that's it. Like there's no more spawning fish. Like it's post spawn then, so everything just happens so fast here because we do have, especially when you get like the longer days, shorter days.
Yeah.
Like the fish kind of know what's going on. And then you get those big cold fronts. Like we had, like, I think the water dropped 9 or 10 degrees from like Saturday to Saturday. So huge impact on like what those fish were going to do.
How are you fighting the urge to not do the general, like most tournament anglers in your situation, totally can happen the way it did. But by this point, by the time you're on a podcast, you're like, well, I knew what was changing, knew it was coming to me, and I had it all figured out that I, free rig him to a great finish in a Bassmaster Classic. Like, why are you telling the truth?
It's just the truth. I've always been like that. Like I'm not gonna like pump it up like, oh, this or that. But like, did I have an idea that could happen? Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like you never know. It's fishing. Like it's not basketball. I'm not 6'7" and could jump and dunk. Like they're fish. We do what they tell us to do.
The Nation Championship is a unique event. But one of the coolest things about it that I think is in your situation, it's probably the best event to get second in. Like a pet peeve I have about fishing. It's weird. Like if you're in a Formula One race and you finish in the top 3, everybody celebrates you. If you're in the Olympics in the top 3, everyone celebrates you. But in fishing, it's like you won and nobody else. Like it's so rare to have an event where second place matters.
Yes,
and it really does in this event.
Yeah, it was funny, like, cause I always growing up, like I'd always be like typical, like, second's the first loser, like all that stuff. And my sister like texted me that like in our family group chat. And I was like, I think if there's one tournament in the rest of my life, I'm perfectly fine with coming in second in. Like, this is it. Outside of being able to get the elite berth, like I'm perfectly fine with coming in second.
Oh, you should put it on the boat. First loser. And then when you win, it'll be the first loser to actually win. So
right.
Great. Just all you have to do is win the Bassmaster Classic. Have you stopped to think about the fact that you're actually going to be competing in the Super Bowl of bass fishing event that you have never physically attended?
No, yeah, that part, yeah. But like, I like the other day, like sat down and like looked at a map for a second. I was like, I can't look at this right now. Like, it was just, it's so crazy. Such a insane feeling of something that like my whole life I've wanted to compete in as any tournament bass fisherman would. And like so many guys that I know that have been close or something, like just haven't. And it's just like a really special feeling.
Yeah. You caught him on a free rig.
I did.
Why free rig?
It's kind of a like ongoing story, and it's kind of cool. So my tournament partner and high school best friend, we were at Champlain a couple years ago. I fish up there a lot, and he had figured out like a lot of people fish for largemouth in the grass there, of course. And we were catching so many fish on a free rig. He was catching so many fish on a free rig. And at first I was like, that's stupid. Like, that's not it. And then progressively, like this year and over the past, like, especially this year, that bait, and we're pretty successful this year up here. And that bait, the bait and that rig was just always there. And for the river, it was perfect because it doesn't get hung up a lot in the rock that I was fishing, the way like those teardrop weights are. I had started throwing it on a spinning rod and I was losing a couple fish, like they weren't getting it right. But I was nervous to throw a bigger bait because I didn't know if I would be able to catch smallmouth and largemouth mixed, because that's what there was. And then I actually saw guys catching bluegills. Like there was a bunch of bluegill fishermen. And I was like, oh, let me tie on a bigger bait. And first cast, I caught a 3.5 pound smallmouth. And I said, that's enough for the spinning rod. And I tied it onto a, heavier G Loomis rod and caught them all on 17-pound line or leader to 50-pound braid. And I was just able to fish it through like the rock I was fishing was only in like 2 to 5 feet. And with the current, like a Texas rig and a jig just got hung up so much that bait would just float right over the top, which is something I learned with like other baits, like fishing really, really light jigs and stuff. So you could fish it through the nastiest cover and not get it stuck.
Very cool. Were the bluegill anglers Amish?
They were not. They were not.
What I mean, the story is so much cooler.
No, there were just some Wisconsin couples. Day 3 and 4, they like knew my name. I'd pull up. They were like cheering me on when I caught fish and everything. They were the ones that like got to experience my little meltdown when I officially had like what I weighed in on day 4. They like saw the little meltdown I had like in the floor of the boat for about 10 minutes. So
tell me about that. Cool. Tell me about your meltdown. And it's best to just be totally honest about everything here, because guess what? Then you own it. You put it out there.
Yeah,
And the
I wish I
non-Amish
had-
folks can never take their videos and put it out and make fun of you when you're a famous Bassmaster Classic champion.
I wish I had a GoPro, but I didn't run one at all. And day 4, I almost started running it, and I was like, but you know what happens when you start running a camera, things go bad. So I didn't. And but they were there like every day of the tournament, and like day 4 I pulled up and I was like, hey, do you guys mind if I fish here? And he was like, oh, Noah, he's like, wherever you need us to move our boats, like we'll move our boats. And I was like, thank you.
Wow.
So like I start fishing, and this was like after I'd already fished through, and I came back and I started fishing again, and I had 2.5 pounders in my live well. I already had a couple nice ones, and the fish had moved because the current had changed. So I moved up to like the front side of the rock pile, and on back-to-back casts, I caught one almost 5 and a 3.5. And I knew like I was going to have over 19. And I just like sat on the floor of the boat and just cried and like yelled, and just, I don't know what came out of my mouth. It was a blur. Like I was so nervous the whole day. I wasn't nervous all week, but that day I was nervous, and it was just the most unreal feeling ever.
What kind of crying are we talking about? Just like a tear, or ugly crying? Is there snot involved?
There was some heavy tears sitting down. Yeah, I just curled up in the fetal position on the floor of the boat on spot lock for solid 10 minutes and just cried and thought about every fish I've caught and everything I've ever done to get to that moment. You know?
It going through the nation, I think, is so unique because it's a team. You know what I mean? Like to get like you guys are, and it's changed over the years, obviously, but there is a connection to your team. Who on your state's team were you most proud to? I mean, what connected you to this win?
So there was a lot like over the years. So like I started fishing like state teams because they used to let like the high school anglers and junior anglers do the regional. So it was like, there was just so many, like there's honestly like too many people. Cause I had made a lot of them and fished a lot of them, but like I have to name her, Sylvia Morris. She used to run like everything for us.
I remember her. I remember dealing with her at those events I emceed. Yeah. Yeah.
She would take over everything for us and do everything and just set everything up. And it was funny. She used to like be like a drill sergeant about like our, like having our insurance line and everything. And on day 3, when they asked to check my insurance, the wrong expiration date was on one of the papers, and the guy's like, oh, like you got to find the right one. And I was like, so like 5 minutes of freaking out, I find it and we're all good. But I was like, that never would have happened if Sylvia was here. Like that just never would have happened. But there's just like endless amounts of people that have just helped me like through all those state teams. Like I don't even remember where my first one was. Might've been in Boston, and then I got to go to Maine. And then the next year when I met Cooper Gallant, him and Danny. So I've been fishing against Coop since we were, young kids, which is cool. So.
Wow. I don't even know. This might be a horrible idea. I'm going to try to do something because you brought them up. It's actually the day we're recording this. It's Coop's birthday.
It is.
And here's the weirdest thing ever. I don't even know if this will show up. I just noticed this picture because Danny posted it. That is, let me get it centered. That is Coop looking like the little kid from Jerry Maguire and an incredibly cute Danny McGarry when they went to senior kindergarten together. Has nothing to do with this podcast, but that's
awesome.
I grabbed that thing and I'm like, it has to come in handy at some, like I want them. Here's my dream. They're both going to be in the same classic one day.
Yes.
And we'll get the Bassmaster video team to make them remake this exact moment. We'll even make Coop wear Winnie the Pooh clothing. Danny rocking the Brooks, always an athlete.
That's awesome.
So I know if I ask you this as you're going to give me your standard answer. Most anglers would, but if you were commentating this event and you weren't you, would you say that you have an opportunity, like your fishing skills give you a good opportunity to win the Bassmaster Classic or compete?
I would think so. There's smallmouth involved, so that's cool.
Yeah.
it's the Tennessee River. It fishes a little bit different, but seems to be a different area. But if there's a place that a minnow has won, that's pretty cool with smallmouth.
Yeah.
Obviously I live in the right part of the country to know something about fishing minnows and smallmouth bass. So that's super cool. But I'm just happy to be there. In all honesty, it's like the winning thing hasn't gone through my brain yet, but we're going to get through just being there and getting to compete in that tournament.
Yeah. Did you celebrate? Are you a partier? Like what happened afterwards when you got home?
So my parents tried to fly out. So I actually drove 23 hours straight home after, by myself. I met some kid that came in ninth, Nathan, him and his wife. So I went out with them after and stuff, and that was great. But I drove home, and I think this weekend we're having a little bit of a celebration for sure.
Nice. Nice. How many people are we talking?
I don't actually know yet. My mom was trying to figure that out this morning, I think.
What kind of party is this going to be? Will it get messy, or is it very, very tame crew?
I don't know. It could go either way, honestly. We'll see what some of my friends bring to the party.
Oh, a little bit of both. A good mixture.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, dude, congratulations. And I got to break it to you. I mean, I think you're a natural at this. I mean, we actually just made a freaking podcast. And I think it was very good. So
we did.
Yeah. Always save the good stuff for this show, because you're going to get on other podcasts. And I mean, just give a good show always, but just a little less than you give here. And I'd appreciate it, since I was your first.
Definitely. Dave, can I thank one more person?
No, time's up.
Okay.
Of course you can.
I think you know this person too, but his name's Chris Beeler.
Yeah.
I was a little bit later on in high school. He took me under his wing, and he was my bass fishing mentor, and I owe so much to him. He took me fishing Toyota Series tournaments as a co-angler, and I won one and bought his boat, and I literally bought his boat and fished out of that for the past 5 years until this year. And he's just done so much for me in so many different ways. I just have to thank him here, because without him, I just wouldn't be sitting here 100%.
Avco not only makes incredible outdoor clothing, but they care about anglers with their 10% pledge. Avco and the Shed family donate at least 10% of the company's profits to conservation and making fishing better. Now back to the show.
No, totally. I'm glad you did. He's a great dude. And I think that's one of the things in fishing that, it doesn't sell podcasts or anything, but it is the truth. It's the coolest thing about the sport. Those relationships, it's almost like every pro, Paul Nick's got his guy. I know there's several people that on the way up really helped me,
right.
But everyone has those relationships. And I think that's the one thing that fishing brings us all, that, our competitive fishing, that doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah. 100%. Everybody has that person that just went above and beyond for them and just helped them in different ways. And he was that guy for me, just everything I could ever imagine. And of course, my dad took me fishing from the moment I could walk, basically. So that doesn't discount that either.
Yeah. Well, your dad would be pissed. Be like, hey, listen, Bliller did some cool stuff, but I created you.
Yes. Yeah. He created the little fishing menace that I am now. Clearly there's trout and salmon behind me. So that's how we grew up fishing. So
multi-species. Was it trout and salmon before bass for you?
It was. Yeah. We used to troll for trout, everything. I still love fishing for trout. All my friends laugh at me because I'm I'd rather catch a brown trout any day of the week than a largemouth bass. And they all just laugh at me.
Yeah. Well, don't catch any brown trout in Knoxville. They don't.
I definitely will not. Don't plan to.
Brown bass though. I mean, those ones have done well there in the past.
Those are my favorite kind to catch. So,
have you spent much time watching Gussie's 2 victories there? Not since you qualified, but was that a classic you were locked in on?
Oh yeah, that was one. It was just so cool to me because it's I get even though it's 25 hours away from me, but it's a northern guy catching smallmouth in the Bassmaster Classic. Like in my lifetime, that hasn't really happened, you know? So that was super cool. And it was like a way I enjoy fishing. Like we used to tight line, like rapidly jigging wraps and things like that all the time. So, you know, it was like cool. It was like, hey, I've done stuff like this before. And he just won the Bassmaster Classic doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Gussie's one of those people that is very relatable with a lot. Like,
yes.
I mean, he wears plaid just like anybody from any kind of woods.
I literally wore a plaid flannel all 4 days in the tournament.
Well, it works for you and it works for Gussie. And like a lot of first times, it's done before you know it. So we're done.
All right.
Noah.
Thank you.
Why'd I have to ruin it with such lowbrow? I'm sorry. See you at the Classic.
See ya. Thank you.
Nick Trim, you are joining us. And not just you. You're not by yourself. You have a great co-host beside you for the rest of your life, I guess. The Bryan Kerchal Trophy. How freaking cool is that?
I don't know that it's fully set in yet. I've had 5 days to kind of let it set in, but it's obviously been a whirlwind. So super cool. When I saw the thing, you know, I never touch a trophy when they display it at the meetings, and I saw it. I really want that. You know, the money spends, but these things are just be around forever. So super cool
to have a trophy, and I think, you know, the trophy's cool. But to have a trophy with Bryan Kerchal's name on it, what does that mean to you?
I mean, he's got an awesome story. To be the only guy to make it through the nation, defend the nation, and then to, you know, the second try to win a Classic, go from dead last to winning, you know, the most famed trophy there is in bass fishing. The Classic is phenomenal. So I really look up to that story. I'd love to write my own. We'll find out in March, right? But it's a dream come true. It's amazing, you know, the plan that God has for you. You know, years back, I'd have never pictured myself being on your show, fishing the Elite Series, being on the Classics, having the opportunity to be on the Classic stage, and you know, I remember back. I think I mentioned this to somebody else too. Like 10 years ago, I never thought I would have a brand new bass boat. And I used to just be in awe at all the money out on the water at tournament takeoff. And I thought, man, these guys must be doing it right, you know? And then the last half a decade, I've been rolling around in a brand new Phoenix. So it's crazy how life changes. And I'm excited.
How did life change? Like to go from, and I'm just imagining the people listening to this, there's a bunch of people who look and say, well, I'll never do that. But like in a decade to make the change that you've made, how did that all start happening?
So I would ask every professional angler that I ever ran into and that would take the time to talk to me, how do I get to where you're at? And every one of them gave me the same exact answer, and it was fish every single tournament you can possibly fish. And at first, I didn't think about it that much. And then the more and more I kept hearing it, the more and more I'm like, maybe I should start listening. So I really just started fishing everything I could. You know, the Bassmaster Opens was a hard one because you had to fish all 9 up until last year. And I just threw my hat in the ring and I just started fishing all over the country, a lot of places I've never been. Really helped me kind of navigate practice and figure out how to learn a lake that you've never been on, because I hadn't had to do that. I just fished everything locally. So I guess just fished everything, and then I wasn't afraid to throw my hat in the ring. I had some really good people behind me too. Obviously, you can't just quit your job and go fishing like we all wish we could. You know, I work for a company, River Valley, and they've been phenomenal. They've been my title sponsor for the last 2 years on the Open. They helped me financially. They give me the time off, let me keep my job so I can still make a healthy living when I'm home. And, you know, a lot of other companies too, that helped me along the way. But I guess it was just like I was that guy that didn't think it was possible. And you hear it sounds cliche because you hear it so much. Like, if you want to do it, you can do it. And it's so true. It really is. Just, I put my best foot forward and I fished as much as I possibly could. And things just started slowly. I don't know how they happened. I couldn't redo it. But it just kind of naturally happened. And now I truly understand what those guys meant. Jeff Crete was actually the first one that
Really?
said it to me. I saw him and Gerald Swindle at the hotel here in La Crosse. They were here fishing. I think it was 2013, maybe. They were fishing an elite event. And Gerald was cracking his jokes like he always does. And Jeff Crete, told me, fish everything you possibly can. And I finally truly understand. I don't know that I did up until a week ago, but I get it.
You put your time in. So what is your full-time job away from fishing?
I'm a sales manager for a home improvement company. So we do windows, doors, siding, roofing, that type of thing.
Okay. Gotcha. And you're
until January 31st, that is.
Until that. Now, I was going to ask you that. Are you taking your elite berth?
100%. Absolutely. Wouldn't pass it up for the world. Yes.
Awesome. I look forward to seeing you on the elites. So we get to see you long before the Classic. What is the bigger dream, fishing the Classic or fishing the elites? Or is it all just kind of a combination of all that?
I like that question because when I did the Opens, my number one goal was to make a Classic. Number two goal was obviously to make the elites, which I thought was kind of a pipe dream, but I thought, man, I can nail one of these things, and make a Classic. I just wanted to fish a Classic once in my life. And if I ever made the elites, that was awesome and a dream come true, but it was almost like a pipe dream for me. I believed I could make a Classic one time, but I didn't know if I could ever make the elites. And man, we got to knock both of them out. So I've been on a cloud for 5 days. It's just, I hope I never come down, but it's been awesome.
Now, you went into this event with a lot of pressure. I mean, you felt like this was a legit. I mean, if you look at the angler who finished second, Noah, in this event, Noah said, "Hey, I went into pre-fish was horrible. I thought I had no shot whatsoever." You did not feel that way when this event was announced, did you?
No, no, and everybody made sure to make it worse for the week leading up. Like, everybody applied that local pressure and you're supposed to win it and this, that, and the other thing. And it never helps. They did it in the Open. I had a really good year in 2024 and we had an Open here and everybody did it leading up to the Open. And I wasn't even in the talk after day one, so that was when Cody Stahl won. But this one practice was grimy. I'm not going to lie. It really was. We had 61 degree water and fish just weren't where they were going yet. And a lot of them were in between, but the two cold nights, the off day and the first night the night right before the first day of competition, we're in the 30s, low 30s, and the water dropped about 7 or 8 degrees and it really got fish moving. And everybody talked about it. They're like, man, there wasn't that many fish there in practice and they're coming. The guys that did good, they found spots that had some fish, but they had fish coming. So they were, these guys cracked them in this tournament way more than I thought they would.
Really?
I thought 17 pounds a day was going to be good after practice. And it wouldn't have been.
To go wire to wire is rare in any event, but to go wire to wire in an event with so much riding on it, did that make it easier or harder on you, do you think?
Easier. It truly did. As much as guys, don't want to target on their back, I've heard it a lot. I'd rather be coming from a pound behind on the last day or something along that lines. I wanted to be out in the lead. I really wanted to. I wanted to be the guy being chased. I didn't want to have the pressure of making up ground on the final day. So I like being in front, I guess, getting an early start. And I gave a little bit back on the short day, the fog day. I think 1.25 pounds back, but almost a 3 pound lead going into the final day was comforting. until the first 2 hours when I couldn't catch a fish. That was very uncomforting.
Do you think that was the fish, or that was the way you were fishing in nerves, like dealing with it in retrospect?
It was, I was very close-minded that morning. You know, I was dancing with the girl that got me there, which was the casting and tackle jig. And they just weren't picking it up. They weren't eating it. I had a couple bites that really, almost like bluegill were pecking at it. And I did catch one. It was a 2-4. That was the only fish I had, I think, in the first 2 hours, but it didn't eat it good. It wasn't just a hard bunk and running away. And I was so close-minded. It took a minute. I was actually leaving my area and I picked that jerkbait up in my first cast and caught that 5-pounder. And then the light bulb went off. And that's one of the things I have to personally get better at, is just being more open and letting the fish tell me what I need to do. Luckily it happened with 6 hours to go, so I could recover, but I should have been more open-minded in going into that thing. But yeah, it was just, they weren't biting the bait that I thought they were going to bite, you know, and I had to switch it up a little bit. They were still in the same area. So.
Well, you got it done. And I imagine, being from La Crosse, I mean, you've seen a lot of Bassmaster events. Like, if you attended Elite Series events, obviously, if you said you talked to Crete and Swindle, you've been at Elites in the past, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Watching and I should have asked you this before we started. I don't even know what your relationship is with him, if you know him at all. But watching what Pat Schlopper's done, a local guy in the last few years, obviously a former Bass Nation's what got him to the Elites. But really, this past year has been, I would like to say, something that a lot of people have been waiting for, because Pat, you know, what he's accomplished on that river and what he's done. He's qualified for classics up till now and contended on the Elite Series, but I think he'd be the first one to say he expected a lot more, and we saw that this year. How much has seen what Pat did, a guy who grew up on that river, fishing that river, how much has that motivated you and inspired you to do what you're doing?
I mean, a ton. You know, watching him double qualify, make it through the nation. Now, I never put myself in the same category as a Pat, and I'm probably guilty of my confidence level is never probably not where it should be. Most cases, I have a lot of friends that holler at me, you know, like, you got to give yourself more credit. You're better than you give yourself, whatever. But I've never put myself up there with Pat. So, you know, everybody kind of expected him to make it because of his dominance here. You know, on the river, he's dominant, but if you get him on a northern lake in Wisconsin, you can't touch him. Yeah. He's, you know, you get up in that Eau Claire area and any lake within 50 miles of that place, he's untouchable. You know, he's just so good. But watching him, you know, he had a really good tournament at Santa Cooper, I think his second year in, with the spawning fish. And then I thought he was going to win Toledo Bend. Yeah, that year. So to see it all come together, it was only a matter of time before he won a blue trophy. We knew that, but to do 2 in a year is super cool. And he kind of hit his stride, and to see what he's going to do in the next 5 years, 10 years, I'm super excited for. But yeah, it's definitely been motivating. A little bit of envy and a little bit of motivation. You know, I want to be that guy. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I always say it. I try to say it as much on live, but it amazes me. Look, we go a lot of places and you hear from a lot of locals, but it doesn't, like, I still don't even think that Pat gets the reverence that people speak. Like, anywhere where I would go, and we, you know, from the moment he came to the Elite Series, people are like, oh, Pat's going to win. Pat's like, if you're in that part of the world, like, I mean, what he's done, he's taken the souls of a lot of tournament anglers.
Yeah, he's cashed a lot of my checks. Let's put it that way. You know, I've been fishing against him for a while, and I got to toot my own horn once. I did beat him last year in the UMBCS championship up on the Turtle Flambeau flowage. I ended up winning that, but he is so hard to beat. And yeah, he's a phenomenal angler, and he's such a nice guy. You know, he's a humble guy, like super nice. And I got to talk to him a lot at the banquet and the first 2 days maybe of the tournament, but then I didn't see him the second 2. But yeah, Pat's a good dude.
You had a lot of people around you at this event, a lot of friends on the water and stuff like that. Tell me about that experience.
Holy cow. The last day, I'll just go to that because that's where I had my cousin Juice and Aaron Jagfeld, who I travel with for the Opens, came out and followed me around. And they got out a little late. I think they partied a little hard the night before, but so they were out there a little late. But I was leaving Lake Onalaska, and I was going to go run the river. And about the time they got out there, so we went to the first spot on the river. And Jake Feld's a scoper, so he loves watching guys shake a minnow. And I looked back at him as I grabbed my spinning rod with my minnow because I saw two fish swim by between me and the area. They were, I don't know what they were doing. They were 10 feet in front of the boat, and I just kind of flipped the minnow out there, and I caught a 4-pounder. And having those guys scream and cheer me on, when I caught that thing was super exciting. And then I know he posted some videos to social media when I went like back-to-back 4-pounders on another area and put me over 20 pounds, and kind of got to share that with them, and I'm going to be right there rooting him on at Okeechobee here in a little bit because I want him to make the elites as well.
Yeah.
And he's in the driver's seat for that. So I think he'll make it. I have the utmost confidence in him and hope to get to travel with him next year. And then obviously, or I shouldn't say obviously, but Matt Adams and Austin Cranford have also, both got a legit shot at making it. So I'm really pulling for those guys. They're all buddies of mine that I'd love to travel with. It'd be a really good group to travel the Elite Series schedule with. So
yeah, that sounds like another scary rookie house if they all pull it off.
Yeah. And as far as the Rookie of the Year battle goes, I don't want those guys there for that. But as far as traveling goes, I'd absolutely love it. They're some of the nicest guys, best guys, and really good fishermen. So, you want to surround yourself with greatness.
Why do you think you won this tournament?
I'm not the most religious guy. I would be the first to admit that. But I do think God has a plan, and even though I didn't see it, I think he did. And I just think the stars aligned. I've bombed my share of big tournaments in lacrosse, so it wasn't like I was a shoo-in. I didn't have a good practice. I didn't catch them, but I think at the end of the day, it was his plan. He prepared me for this moment the last decade, and when I was ready, it all came together. And it did. I really couldn't do anything wrong. It was one of those things where no matter what I did, even on a 4-hour day where I had 2 hours to fish because of a lock, every move I made was right, and I didn't have the time to not have the right move. So I just feel like it was his plan, and he figured I was ready for it. So I'm excited to see what next year brings,
During that 4-hour delay, were you licking your chops being like, this is tougher for everybody else? Or did you feel just as much pressure as everyone else?
I was begging GL to cancel. I was begging. I had to have so much go right for that day, because if one barge goes into the lock, I can't lock. I didn't know if I could catch them on pool 8. I only had 2 hours. So if I make one bad decision, my day's shot. And I wasn't like catching them like I think a lot of guys were catching them really fast and furious in the afternoon. So they were getting the best time of the day to go catch them fast and furious. And mine was just like a slow grind. I didn't have any spots where I thought I could go pull up and catch 17 pounds and a few casts, Actually, I take that back. I had one, but it got muddy when I got there on day 3. I thought it was going to be my saving spot. It was completely mudded out, and I'm like, oh boy, we're in trouble. And then I had to kind of scrape it together. But no, I was begging for a cancel. In fact, GL was going to cancel at 11:10, and 11 o'clock we took off. So we were 10 minutes from the day being canceled, and me going out with a 4-pound lead on championship day. And well, it never comes easy. You're always going to get tested in these situations, and I accepted that, and I figured, well, I had to make it happen if I wanted to win. So, and it worked. I only gave up 1.25 pounds to second place. So
I've run a Yamaha outboard for over 30 years. It has got me home safe each and every time. If you enjoy this podcast, remember, Yamaha supports it and they care enough about you to make this ad read very short. Now back to the show.
Yeah, it definitely worked out, and I look forward to having you on the Elites next year. Growing up, I'm assuming you were a fan of the sport. Who was your guy growing up?
Ironically, I wasn't.
No.
No. I didn't even know tournament bass fishing existed until I turned 18. Well, I was 18, not turned 18, but when I was 18, my best friend, best man at my wedding, Bob Byrne, he said, "Hey, you want to fish a tournament?" And I'm like, "What is that?" I was a snowmobiler. I was a backcountry, or I rode snowmobiles. And he's like, you go and catch 5 of your biggest fish and you weigh them in. And I'm like, "Oh, sure, I'll try it." And from that day, I was hooked, and I thought nothing else. And now I don't hardly ride a snowmobile, and I fish, and he's a big snowmobiler. So, but when I got into it, I think obviously KVD was the guy. I mean, who didn't look up to KVD? Quick moment, they were doing the BPT here, and I was fishing a spot with another local, and we were both power pulled down, throwing it to the spot, trying to catch fish, and out idles Kevin Van Dam on the front of the boat. He had been eliminated, but he was going out to do commentary. And it was like the coolest moment ever, because he came up and he talked to us, and they sat and watched us for a while. And we never caught a fish, but the school had moved or whatever. But so that was like a starstruck in the middle of a tournament where he was on the home water here, and you got to see him. But yeah, KVD would be my guy, I think. Gerald Swindle is always the guy I looked up to. He, laughing at him, he's always comical and entertaining, so I enjoy that. But those would probably be the two. Mike Iaconelli, just his never give up attitude and his excitement for the sport. He was fun to watch. But that's kind of when I got into it, was when those guys were the ones ruling the roost.
Yeah. Well, you're going to be able to fish against 2 of them. And KVD, I mean, not very many people that Kevin Van Dam actually sits and watch fish. So you're in a rare club there. But
yeah,
what does it mean to represent the Bass Nation?
A lot. The Bass Nation, if you look back at not only the anglers that have made it to the Elite Series through the Bass Nation, a lot of them are fairly successful in the fishing. They have it's the one way for a grassroots angler to get to the biggest stage in fishing. I wouldn't say it's an easier path, because you got to win. The opens are an absolute grinder, though. I will say that they're tough, but the Bass Nation really is a great path for the working guy, or the club guy, to really the one that wants to step out. A lot of guys are just happy being in a club, and that's where they want to stay. But guys like me who want to do this for a living and want to make it a career, the Bass Nation's awesome, and everybody should join a club and get in the Bass Nation. Now they have the regional qualifiers, which is the route I went, and those things are awesome. The best thing Bass ever did was open it up to them regional qualifiers, in my opinion, so that some guys that weren't necessarily in a club had an opportunity to join the Nation and battle through that way. So I'm super happy to wear that Nation's Best logo, and I'm going to represent them well and hopefully make them proud.
I'm sure you'll make him proud, but let's quickly learn a little bit about you. You said guys like you. So who are you away from fishing? We know you're a sales guy, but outside of that, how old are you? Like, what are you a married guy? I think you got a family, right?
Yeah. So I'm 43. I live in a little tiny town of like 1,500 people in Wisconsin. Gillsville's the name of it. I have a wife. We've been together for, oh my gosh, she's going to kill me. I think like 12 years. We have 2 beautiful children, three children. I have a stepson who's 19, or will be 19 in November here, and then a daughter will be 11 in December, and a son that just turned 6. So 3 dogs, a cat, a goat, chickens. I got it all. So, and I grew up with my dad fishing walleye on the Mississippi River, and I love hearing him tell his stories, and I kind of reignited him. He's battling, he's in the battle for his life right now with cancer. So he made day 4 weigh in. He had a treatment of chemo on Friday before day 4. So, but he made it sure he was down there to watch everything, which means the world to me. And things are going good. He's optimistic and everything's going well. So we're super thankful for that. But where I was going with that is when I was 3 years old, he worked third shift at Heileman's Brewing Company. He made Old Style Light. And he'd get home and he'd sleep for a couple hours and we'd jump in the boat and we'd go fishing all afternoon. And I'm like 3-4 years old. And he said, I didn't horse around at all. I was just all about catching fish for hours, eight hours on the boat. He's like, I knew something was wrong with you at that point, and for my whole life I fished, but I just didn't know tournament fishing, So I would ride my bike 10 miles out of town to go fish, because there was one creek that I knew had smallmouth in it and I could go catch them. And so I had the passion and he lit that fire for me when I was just a little guy. So, he means the world to me, but that's kind of the back end of me. I love snowmobiling, backcountry out west, snowmobiling. Never been up to your parts up there, but I heard it gets pretty good. Dream of mine's to go to Whistler. I've never been. Yeah. But yeah, family and fishing, and I like to deer hunt. I haven't had time to get in a stand because I'm still trying to work through this, trying to navigate the path that I have to get ready for the season. Looking for a title sponsor if anybody's listening and shows any interest. So I do have a space for rent. Yeah. A couple of them, as a matter of fact.
And how do they get in touch with you? Through social media?
Social media is fine. Yeah, that'd be great. Nick Trim Fishing, Instagram, Facebook. I'm not a TikToker, and I'm really bad at social media. I can't edit videos or do anything like that. I got to admit it. But I am going to look for somebody to help me with that, because I think that's a very important part of today's society and advertising. So, but yeah, that's me.
One last question. What did it mean to you to win in front of your kids the way you did? To see their dad accomplish something that may never be their dream, but to see their dad accomplish a dream is something rare. That most dads don't get to do that.
Yeah. My daughter, who's will be 11 here in a month, she's ecstatic. She gets it. Marshall, he's 6. He knows he was up on stage with dad and a bunch of people watching or cheering, but I don't think he really understands, but I think he will someday. And he'll have them pictures to look back at. They always come up on stage with me, whether it's a BFL, a Tackle Orioles Invitational, whatever it may be. They're always up on stage. My daughter loves it, but now she's irritated because all the kids at school are, there's a lot of people that follow, even kids her age, and they're all heckling her about her dad being a fisherman and winning, and she's getting sick of it. But super cool to share that with them. And kids are a hard part of this sport, and I'm going to open up a little bit of my soapbox or whatever, stuff I think about. And it's, kids don't have a choice in this. My wife totally does, but they sacrifice a ton. Man. And dad's not home a lot. When I'm fishing 9 opens and, on the road, they don't get a choice in that. And they just have to deal with not seeing their dads for, 9 days at a crack. And that's hard. The more I do it and the more I think about it, I mean, it's not going to influence my decision on where life takes me, because I think they'll be proud that their dad made it to where he did, and hopefully accomplishes a lot while he's doing it. But it's one of those things where I hope they can accept it. You can't really ask a 6-year-old if he's okay with it, because it doesn't make sense. But having a family and young children, the sport's hard. But I have the most supportive wife in the world. She's super cool with everything and super excited for us, and she knocks it out of the park. So that's important.
Well, great support is key. And I look forward to meeting them all on the road. And I honestly believe everybody is meant to do something, and the truly happy people in life are the people that find a way to do that. And sure sounds like you were meant to do this, Nick. Great conversation from 3 great anglers. Unfortunately, Dylan Nutt has horrible Wi-Fi. It was a little choppy, but we got through it, and I thank them all for joining us. But one of the many reasons that you should go to bestontour.net and vote for this podcast to be the best podcast is because you never know what you're going to see here. And we're not done yet. We're going to hop right into things with where in the world is Tommy Wood?
Well, welcome back to a Where in the World is Tommy Wood. We are here in the beautiful sunshine state of Florida. Absolutely loving it down here. The weather's been beautiful, but staying at my mate's Byron Hill's house. So he's an Australian. He's been here for about 2 to 3 years with his family now. They all moved to Orlando and they've been letting me stay here. So it's been awesome just being able to stay here in Florida. In Orlando, there's so many lakes around, like the Harris Chain, the Kissimmee Chain, and been doing a lot of fishing together, having some fun, and I also got to have my first Halloween experience here in the US, which was crazy. Got dressed up as a big blue dragon, but it's been awesome. We're actually only a couple of days out of finishing off the season, which has been a crazy drag out. Feels like it's been going on forever, but we're finally coming up to the last event, and that's going to be at Lake Okeechobee, so super pumped for that one. You know, it's a potential classic berth as well as a potential Elite Series berth, so we just got to pull our finger out, hopefully get into some big bass down there and finish this year off with a bang. So super pumped for that. But not long after that, I think 3 or 4 days after that last event, we're heading back to Australia for 2 months. So going back home, getting straight back into work, get back on the tools, make some money, and then head back over for the next year. So next year, if I do the Opens, it's going to be one division. So I'll be fishing Division 2. And first event will be Sam Rayburn. So we fished that this year. That was actually the first event I cashed to check out, and I love that place. The fish was awesome. There's big fish around everywhere, and it was good fun. So I'm super pumped to get back there and fish that event next year. But it's been an unreal year. Can't thank everyone enough for the support. It's been so much fun meeting a lot of friends, and it's just been absolutely unreal. And the other day I got to catch my first decent bass. It was a 9.5 pounder, and that's a PB for me. So it was good to catch in the States because my PB before that was this year, only a couple months ago in South Africa, which was a 7.8 pounder. And it was big fish, but I wanted to catch something bigger. And I know that 9.5 pounds isn't a giant still, but super happy to get a big one. I just couldn't believe how big they look when they're that big. So they're a large fish, but hopefully we're going to run into a 10 pounder or something in Okeechobee. That'd be great, but we'll see how she goes. But thanks again for tuning in for Where in the World is Tommy Wood, and hope you guys enjoy the podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Well, I got to be totally honest. I am a little let down that Tommy Wood did not do the whole segment in his big blue dragon costume. But I am thankful that Tommy let us know where in the world Tommy Wood is. I want to thank you all for watching and remind you to like, comment, subscribe. Do all those things that help stroke the algorithm and keep this show growing. And remind you that at times life is not easy. Everybody is a battle. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. So be kind. Phone a friend. Reach out to your buddies. It'll help them, and it'll ultimately help you as well. Speaking of helping people out, you could help vote this podcast as the best podcast. Let's be honest. I mean, this is a one-man gang, and we're trying to take out Bass Talk Live, which has been around 20 plus years, has 4 episodes a week, and then Bass After Dark, which has 17 different people working on it. We're a simple show trying to survive in an unsimple world. And you could simply make it better by going over there and voting. I'll put the link down below. It would help me feel better, and I'd be thankful for it. Until next time, have a great week. Enjoy being, and as always, Bob Kopp, take it away.
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, because Bob Cobb of the Bassmasters told you to. You hear?